Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Tier 10 Best of the Worst. Today we are doing tank destroyers. So, just to quickly reiterate my method of finding the best and the worst tanks, I use the What Replays site. I sort by Tier 10, and in this case, tank destroyers, or AT-SPGs as they are called here, and go through each and every one of the different Tier 10 tank destroyers. There are 13 in total. Some of these are like, on this site here, are like rental tanks that are no longer in use. I just use the current ones and sort by the current patch 1.10. You can see my list of results here. It's well, in regards to tank destroyers, sorting by experience might not be the most appropriate, because tank destroyers are all about doing damage. So I guess you can make an argument for sorting by damage would be better. You got some things like the Grille 15, for example, which likes to hide behind a bush or something and doesn't do its own spotting, and therefore gets less experience for the damage it does. Because in World of Tanks, if you don't spot your own targets, you get less experience for damaging them. On the other hand, if you have something like, for example, the Objekt 268 version 4, which was the best tank destroyer in the previous patch, which has enough armor and it can get up in their face and spot its own targets and doesn't have to rely on the team. That's kind of powerful, and that reflects in sorting by experience. Also, I only do the 10 best results and divide by 10 to find the average, or divide by 6 to find the average if there are no more than 6 results uploaded, as is the case here with the WZ113 GFT. A better sample would be just to find the best 10 games of all games in that tank, not just the ones uploaded to the What Replay site, or even the best 100 or best 1000. But I just have to go by what I've got. So, the rankings are as follows. Objekt 268 version 4, no longer number 1, it's number 2. Number 1 is the shit barn, the FV4005. Wait, it's a shit barn. How could it be the best? Well, I think some of the new equipment might have helped that, with the improved aiming unit and improved rotation mechanism. You can bring that awful bloom down a bit, and I guess that might have helped it. It's still, in my opinion, a cancerous piece of garbage, but according to the numbers, it's the best. And 268 version 4, number 2. Number 3 is the E3. Number 4, Stridsvagn. Number 5 is the E4, the T10 E3 and T10 E4, if you didn't catch that. Number 6 is the Grille 15. Number 7 is the Badger. Both the Badger and the E3 and E4 are kind of like the 268 version 4 in that they can almost play the heavy tank role, be like pseudo heavies on the front line. Number 8, it's the other big British derp gun that's no longer in the tech tree, the FV215B183. Not to be confused with the FV215B, which was the worst Tier 10 heavy tank. This is just a mediocre Tier 10 tank destroyer. Number 9, AMX 50 Foch B. That's If I'm not mistaken, that's the current Tech 3 French Tier 10 tank destroyer. Number 10, Jagdpanzer E100. And number 11, Foch 155. That would be the previous French Tier 10 tank destroyer. That's now, I think you can get it like a collector vehicle. I haven't really looked up on the French vehicles, to be honest. Number 12, the Objekt 268, not the version 4, but the old one. Old and busted and power crept, and almost as bad as number 13, the WZ 113 GFT Chinese Tier 10 tank destroyers. So, China had the worst Tier 10 light tank, with only 9 results uploaded. Apparently people don't play it much. And they had the worst Tier 10 medium tank, the 121. Only 7 results uploaded that were ace results. And they had, I guess, no, that's not Chinese. Yeah, they had like a mediocre, pretty bad Tier 10 heavy tank. That's also like a collector's vehicle. But they weren't the worst in the Tier 10 heavy tank category. That's, at least they've got that going for them. Yeah, they also have the WZ 115, which is like a mediocre Tier 10 heavy tank. But in the tank destroyer category, light tank, medium tank, China is not number 1. They are number bottom 13 in this case. Only 6 results uploaded. That was in total. They were all ace tanker results. The lowest one was like barely 1,000 experience. So obviously the threshold for getting an ace tanker badge in that tank is not that high. That and the fact that few people seem to play it tells me that yes, my numbers are not incorrect. This is in fact the worst Tier 10 tank destroyer. Now let's find it here in there it is. And this is the replay we are gonna watch. WZ Hammer by Xerzaze V Prepalu. That's a mouthful. Now let's watch it. Alright, this is this name, Xerzaze. Yeah, that guy, or that person, playing the WZ 113 GFT. I don't see these very often. As I said, it's a machine very few people play, very few uploads with, and yeah, as it was at the bottom of the list, maybe that's why people don't play it. It tends to look, that, you know, might be a trend with Chinese vehicles. They weren't at the bottom in heavy tanks, but in light and medium they were also the worst. Maybe there's some anti-Chinese bias going on at Wargaming. I'm gonna take control of the camera here. He's going into town, he's not sniping from the back. And yeah, that's a pretty big chunky machine. Give him back control of the camera. And that went wide, and he got smacked by the grille. He's firing heat, put one right through the upper plate of the IS-7. And the Chinese commander probably said that that one bounced. And those heat rounds look like they have some pretty good penetration. Being able to go through the front of the turret of that 705A. That's impressive. And he's bouncing stuff. He's bounced a lot of APCR rounds from the IS-7 he was fighting. Even a heat round from the 705A. While his own heat rounds go just through the upper plates like butter. It's kind of the downside of the pike nose you see on the IS-7 and the IS-3. Like almost no matter how you try to angle your tank, the enemy will find a good angle. He's up to more than 5k damage. A good game so far. But I don't think he's done yet, because this was in fact the best of the worst. Not just the pretty good of the worst. And again, I did not look really carefully at the post-game stats before I opened the replay, so I don't know how this is gonna go. Other than it's gonna go well, because it's the best of the worst. Up to 6.5. You really need a heat round for the relay. So he's switching to regular AP. Because none of the tanks left have any armor. That was lucky. Almost 80k so far. Is he gonna get the kill on the Arty? Yes! That's not quite a Top Gun, but that's still pretty impressive result. So this was Xerzase v Prepalu in the Chinese Tier 10 WZ 113 GFT. That's a mouthful. I'm gonna put the post-game stats up here so you can watch what he did. I'm guessing he spent quite a lot on that premium ammo. Well, that's it for this episode. I don't think I'm gonna do one for Arty. You know, nobody wants to watch an Arty game. Those are boring. And last time I checked, there wasn't much of a difference between the 5 different Artys. They were pretty similar in average and top score. Well, goodbye. Take care.